How would you like to make your first million? And today we have Fossey Jardine join us from Hawaii. How cool is that? And he is a co-founder of HUI Mastermind, empowers Native Hawaiians and locals to build generational wealth through real estate in their homeland. The Away, a former drug addict and dealer who spent time in federal prison. Wow, very inspiring. Also built a multi-million dollar real estate portfolio, including 100 plus affordable homes and a 6 million rent portfolio. Wow, that's very impressive. So, Fossi, tell us, what are the 5 steps you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first millions?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Well, I just wanted to mahalo you for letting me come on your podcast and talk to your audience. Appreciate that. And coming from humble beginnings, right, from Hawaii, a lot of people don't have money, but we work hard. And I think the number one step would be the people you hang around with, also family members too, right? I hung around with the family members that were going down the path that led me to federal prison. So be careful who you hang around with, because that's who you become. That's step one. Step two is take action, take imperfect action on your goals. Why? Most people wait, right? They wait for the right opportunity or for the right moment. So make sure that when you have a why or a goal, take action. Number two. Number three is try to master one skill, right? Don't be a master of many, right? Because you're doing too much, wearing too much hats. So try to master, one skill, hone on it, focus on it, and then you become successful in that field. And then four, leverage other people or other people's resources, right? You're an expert at what you do, and you do what you do best. But the best thing in business or any type of thing that you're going to get involved with, surround yourself with the smart people that's smarter than you, right? You hire the people that's smarter than you, and your business is going to succeed. Number five is stay in the game. Never give up. Most people quit too early, right? Wealth rewards the endurance, Have I been in this, I've been in this real estate business for 12 years. Had I quit, I would be still working a blue collar, working for somebody else's dream and not mine. So those are the 5 steps, my friend Harry. Thank you for having me on.
Become a millionaire in real estate is easy. Fossi, I want to ask you this because out of the 500 millionaires that we interview in this podcast, 1 out of 5 are property millionaires. They're related in, they're either property developers, so they're doing property commercial, residential, buy to own, flipping. So a lot
Mhm.
of strategy, but I can say that out of the 500 millionaires, minimum, minimum 100, 1 out of 5 are property. So can you tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly of become a property millionaire? Because sound too easy. People listen to the podcast, they see you guys doing amazing things, and the young entrepreneurs, right, hanging out in the podcast, they might think, oh wow, that should be easy, become a millionaire in real estate. I'm listening to Harry's podcast. Look how many people in real estate wealthy are showing up. That should be a very easy vehicle. So, can you tell us a drop of reality? Okay, because of course we won't argue that property is a great vehicle to be a multimillionaire because the statistics of this podcast reflect that. But we want to be pragmatic and honest with our audience. So, what's your point on this?
Yeah, I mean,
It
look, I
was easy
came.
for you. Tell us, was easy for you?
Yeah, it was easy for me to go down the wrong path, right? Make the mistakes that I
That was
chose.
easy.
That
That
was
was
super
easy.
easy.
That was piece of
Easy, right? To go down the wrong path. And took me some time to realize I made some mistakes in my life. Prison actually changed my whole entire life. And I had to change the mindset, right? I started reading books and in prison, like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, um, books like that. Also the Bible, of course. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here today. But they say that real estate is where most people make their riches or wealth or generational wealth, right? And it's true. Is it easy? Well, it's right here. It's your mindset, right? If you keep talking negativity in your mind, you're only going to see negative results. So when you start hanging around people that are successful, that are people that you want to be like, and sometimes you have to pay them to teach you, or you bring some type of value to them. In the beginning, I wanted to learn how to do real estate, but I didn't know where. I only got it from books and from, when there was a guy named Joe who was teaching 101 real estate, right? And that's all I had, not hands-on. So when I came home with $0 in my pocket, no money, right? So how does someone go down the wrong path, go to prison, change their life, but then start afresh with $0 to turn into a portfolio, $6 million portfolio? Well, it was because I put myself in front of coaches or mentors that paved the road for me. And I signed up for a program that there was a commercial that came on the radio station, and I went to the free event. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are talking sense to me. This is what they said, Harry. They said that if they're coming to my hometown, right, in Hawaii, we're finding properties, fixing them up, and we're, flipping them and using other people's money. So you didn't have to have any of your own money. I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like me. I got no money, right? I don't know anything about real estate. So I went to the event, I was sold, and that was the rooms I needed to be in. And fast forward 12 years now, I'm a real estate developer because of the tools, the strategies, and the teachings that they taught me about real estate
Wow, very
that got
impressive.
me to where I'm at. Yes.
Very impressive. Yeah, because from flipping a house to become a real estate developer, a lot of goes into a lending curve. But again, I'm glad that you bring this, Jose, because sound like it's too good to be true. But there are some strategies in property that you don't need to really have money. Like for
Yeah.
example, with the flipping, and I was doing something in London. I made my first million. We sold 5 million in London doing something
Nice.
with property. That was my first business, rent to rent. So we will rent the units, the
Hmm.
properties, and then we will rent the rooms separate. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
happened to be like 2008 was a credit crunch, so nobody had money to rent a whole flat. Everybody was, and everybody fought for the job. So every, people couldn't afford the whole flat, they only can afford a room. And on the other side, there were all the flats empty because for the same reason, people couldn't buy the whole flat. So we came and we said to another, look, we're gonna rent your whole flat. Just give me a good price for it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna rent the by rooms individually. And the landlord was telling me, Harry, as soon as you pay, so I can pay my mortgage. I've been 6 months with the house empty, so you can rent it by unit. That's okay. Please pay because I don't want to lose the house. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we make a business out of this, and business literally again. I read the same book that you wrote, Kiyosaki one, and it was interesting because it was almost with no money. I went to the bank, I borrowed 3,000 pounds. They didn't give me any more money
Yeah.
because I was making 5.75 per hour as a waiter in London. So
Yeah.
they, when I went to the bank, I said, "Give me all the money you can lend me." They told me, "Okay, 3K, we can lend you more." So, but 3K was enough to pay the full month deposit as the rent for the first property. I remember it was like 1,400 paid. I was like tight. 1 month deposit, 1 month rent. Then
Yeah.
and then I had to rent the rooms quickly. And I remember it was 1 week I couldn't rent anything. And the second week the whole house is empty, and I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, what gonna? So, Fuzzy, tell us how have been your biggest challenges uh,
Yeah.
building this business and how you become that challenge.
Yeah, so when I first started in this real estate, thank you. That was a great question because, you know, my hurdle or biggest challenge was and I had no money, right? There was no money in my pocket. I was just like you. I was making $9 US dollars an hour when I first got out, my first job, window cleaning. So you cannot survive with that, right? And so I'm coming into a brand new real estate investor, don't know nothing. But the coaches helped me to. They told me this, like whatever you're taught in school, whatever you taught from your parents, just throw that into the trash can because your mindset is the number one thing that you need to change to become successful, right? Even though you don't have money, someone else has that money, right? So the mindset I needed to change. And then two, the if you told me if you can find an opportunity that was lying on the ground, so you find a bag something that full of diamonds, right? You could sell that thing to somebody. Somebody knows there's value in that bag of diamonds. Okay, so basically, like if you find the right opportunity, the money will come, and that's how I was able to get involved with this business. One, like you, I went to the bank. I borrowed money for my education. I didn't have the money, but I had the credit because I had a job.
Wow, that's very, very impressive.
So starting off with none of my own money, I borrowed the money for the education, and then I had a credit card. So I paid like $26,000 for a real estate education course. And from there, that education course taught me some skills. I put some ads out on Craigslist, and they put me in front of a developer, right? And that developer was a local guy from Hawaii, and that's how I started my journey. All he was asking for was he needed funding for his projects. So that was my ticket. I was like, oh my God, I'm part of a community of people who have funding, right? Once you,
Absolutely.
so
And
I,
you know, Fuzzy, the about courses of property and whatever, it's true that some of them charge a lot of money and everything.
yes.
And sometimes they ask me, Harry, shall I pay all this money to do this course? And I always tell them the same thing. I said, listen, even if the course is bad, even if you don't learn anything in the course, the people you're gonna meet there,
Mm-hmm.
the network
Yep.
is if everybody I often ask them, okay, how much is 20K? Okay. How many people are attending? 50, 20, 100? Did
Yep.
they tell you the number? And they said, yeah, Harry, 100 people already paid. I said, look, you want to be in the room with everybody pay 20K. Forget about the course.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
learn something, fine. Otherwise, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because the network and the people you're going to meet there,
Yeah.
you can, they there for the reason, maybe it's you who doesn't know, but the people that have 20K and the whatever, they know what they're doing. They
Yep.
just go just to let an extra, and also they only go to meet people. Like, you know what I mean? So the network is amazing. So I never
Mm-hmm.
say no to anybody. I don't never say, that's a crazy idea. You go and borrow money from the thing. However, make sure that it's not only you or five more people in the course. Make sure that if you go to one of those courses, that
Yep.
because who doesn't want to be in a room with 50 people that already paid 20K? That's how committed they are to learn something.
Right. Right.
100 people. That's
Right.
priceless. Look at you.
And
You find the funding in the
oh,
same with your same files from the course, right?
yeah, and
All
then
the money was already there, right?
yeah, like I didn't have to have the money. The coaches had the money, right? The people that was in the rooms had the money. Also had the opportunities because one of the first deal that came to me was through another student because he knew I was working with the coaches. He brought the opportunity to us. We did a three-way partnership. Coaches put up the money. We managed the projects, flipped the house, and we were happy. Also, the good thing is the lady that was in the house, she couldn't pay her mortgage, so we helped the lady out. We did owner finance plus subject to opportunity where we
So
gave
the
her
owner
upfront.
didn't lose the house, because if
Yeah,
you don't help it, then they lost the house and they walk
yeah,
out empty-handed, right?
Right. So yeah, it was the rooms like, what we're talking about is where I was able to, get started in this business, man. Like in those rooms,
Jose,
like
by
even
saying that, very impressive. Very you turn your life around. Yeah, we say very easy, but it takes a lot of strength in mindset and belief, you see. And
yes.
especially the people that you hang around. I think it was important that you learn into this course because in this course you find people that tell you this is possible. We can do this.
Yep.
Whether if you have my teachers, they are no entrepreneurs. And every time that I told them I'm doing this business, they always were telling me, "What are you doing? Find a job. You went to university, just find a job." And they they have a struggle all their life with me because they don't understand what I do. That I don't have a job, right? So I'm very grateful for property. Give me everything that I
Yes.
want. We're speakers and leaders. We do workshop. We train uh, uh, entrepreneurs how to grow the business. But in order to get to where we are now in this business, or the foundation, if it was not for my real estate business, that was the beginning of everything. And I do real estate until these days. I love it. So I
Yes.
always do a few projects with
Yep.
developers. So
Yes.
I have a project now in 395 mil out working here in Florida. So, Ozzy, um, what what impact made to you that room of people there that they all believe that your coaches, the people in the room, that they all believe, oh yeah, you can flip the house, you don't have money, and you can make money. And then you thinking, this is not possible for me to make money. I have to clean so many windows, and I make $9. And now you're telling me, guys, that I can make 10K, 5K, 20K just for putting all this together, just for managing and just to look because I don't have to do anything. Just look, make phone calls, and make sure everybody does the job and charge the right amount. I make sure that they buy the right material and don't buy more, so we keep it on budget. Um, so what happened with your secret possibility when you start to realize you believe that all this was possible, but everybody around you, the new people that you start to hang around, they also believe that that was possible, and it's not a belief that was possible; they were actually doing it. And
Yes.
so, did you ask any friend or anybody else, and they told you, "Oh, you know what? This is too good to be true. Get out of there." So, tell us how you deal with with that comment.
Man, this is awesome question, man, because when I first started, my wife, and I went to the 3D event, and at that time, we were actually purchasing our first home. And when she saw the price ticket of $26,000, she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you crazy? This is like we're actually gonna buy a house and you're gonna pay $26,000." And I'm like, what the guy said on the stage resonated with me emotionally. That person that was on the stage, I knew that I could do what they were teaching, right? There was no question. I so the or the like her mindset was to save us from not losing money because we're gonna purchase a home. But in my mindset, it was like, okay, I understand. I'm gonna make this happen. No matter what, I'm gonna make this happen. Friends and family were telling me,
You
bro,
cannot
that's a
blame her,
scam.
Fossey. You cannot blame
Yeah,
her because
no,
she's out
they
of
love us.
context.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
they love you. They try to protect it, and
yeah,
she's out of context. She hasn't been in
yeah,
this room. She hasn't
right.
read the book of Roy Kiyosaki.
Yeah,
So, of course, you got home and you said, look, I went to this course and I'm going to pay 26. Everybody freaked out. It's like, you crazy.
yeah,
They're out of context, right?
yeah, yeah. Actually, even more, right? There was a inner circle
And it's
part of this.
difficult, Pussy. It's difficult because you're taking a lot of money and, you are confident that you can do it,
Mhm.
but you are aware that it's a lot of money. I remember when I took the 3,000 from the bank, I was calculating. I say, "Oh my God, if I lose this money, it would take me 10 years to pay this 3K at my rate five an hour." I'm doing the math. I say, "Oh my God, I better don't lose this money, this 3K, because I'm gonna spend 10 years paying this." I was
Yeah.
already making end meets, and now a 3K, 3,000 pound loan that I had to pay. I'm thinking but sometimes, Fuzzy, you feel it and you have to go for it. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
It was
Risk. Yeah, you take the risk because
I
you
said
don't
that
want.
I was spending more than what I was making. I was broke, and the opportunity. And first, I do it for myself to save. I check my statements, every money that I'm spending every month. I'm thinking 60% is rent.
Yeah.
I need to remove this overhead out of myself. So the first thing I did, I rent the house, and then I live in the living room, so I don't pay rent. Guess what happened? Next, my salary from the Hilton. Now I'm rich. I have like 600 pounds extra. I'm like, wow, how come I changed my life in a that
Yeah.
from being broke? Now I have 600 pounds. Like for me, it was a fortune to have it. They'll pay me 1,000. So after I spend everything, after all my expenses, I was not paying rent. I rent the whole house and then I rent the rooms individually. Back in the day, I'm telling you, we that's and everything. I think we
Yeah.
invented this let thing. Like I'm telling you, 16 years ago, nobody of these existed. And I remember that with 3 rooms, we will pay the whole rent of the place. And
Nice.
with half of the room, we pay all the bills. And it was the big room, the living room, that can be rented for 600, 700. Plus the other rooms,
Yeah.
it was clear profit. Talking about a lot of money. Some of these property were making, almost of them making over 2,000 pounds a month. So imagine when you have a portfolio and you multiply for the year. So it was amazing, right?
Yes.
With very little money down, right? Well, no money down. I borrow the
Life
money.
changing. Life
Yeah, the
changing.
whole life changed
Yeah.
completely. Gets even better after I take 7 houses. I brought the employees. I quit my Hilton job. It was some point. I have 7 houses. I have 2 rooms empty all the time, and my salary is 1,000. And
Nice.
3 months, don't have time to rent these 2 rooms, and I have a full-time job in the Hilton that pay me 1,000. And one day I'm sitting there. I said, "Look, okay, if I don't go to work today to room service in Hilton in Canary, how long really would take me to rent 2 rooms?" And I'm thinking it would take me a couple of days if I can sleep and I'm rest and confident that in a couple of days I can rent these 2 rooms. And then that's it. I said I quit the job, and then I rent the 2 rooms, yeah, in my day off. And when I realized this, I said, you know what? If I'm making one day in 2 days, whatever I'm making the whole month, that's it. Then I quit to be an employee 18 years ago. I never looked back. Yeah, I've been a very interesting roller coaster, I have to say. I have some wins and I have some big disasters as well. I opened a restaurant, lost 200,000 pounds, was a big disaster. If I tell you all my failures, I will depress you. So let's don't go there. But you're already very positive. But
Yeah.
the whole point is that it's very interesting in the life of entrepreneur. And it's just a journey. But like I said, property has been a very good.
Yeah.
So how you deal? Okay, now let's go back to friends and family. Because in my family, nobody's an entrepreneur. So of course, when I go there, I'm gonna rent the
Right.
houses. I'm gonna make money and everything. Number one, the family said no. I don't like it. Find a job. That's the family. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
you go to your friends. I'll go out to the pub. In London, we go to a pub with friends to drink on Fridays. Then I go with a bunch of friends, and then everybody having fun. Everybody talking about their jobs. Everybody talking. And then when I go and say, "Look, I have this business. I'm gonna do this. Blah blah blah."
Yeah.
No, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my friends also." Nobody cares anymore about what I mean. Business is like I'm speaking Chinese to them. They want to
Hmm.
eat, they don't even care. They don't even want to talk about it. You should do this. Do you know what you're doing? Blah, blah. So all of a sudden, while I was building my business, the more lonely. I didn't know about coaching. We didn't know about mentoring. I didn't know anything about business, so I didn't even know what coach a mentor was, or what on any of these things. We're doing a kind of survival to dump my rent so I can have some money. That's how everything started. So, Fuzzy, how you deal with the environment that there are no entrepreneurs that because of they want to protect you, they uh, take ideas to you, but because you're in different room, in different framework, hanging out with different people, the way that you mind, think, and operates is different. because they're out of context. If they would be in the same rooms with you, they would be in the same seminar, if they will listen everything, they will say, okay, that makes sense, you should invest. But because they were not there, their opinions also can, and then you're starting your business, you're coming out of
Yeah.
prison, you have some doubts, now you're gonna get 20K, so it's a tough call to make. And then somebody come on your environment, they don't do it. So how you stay still with all the pressure?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you have
so
any friend, entrepreneur, somebody that group you out, or you just went for it?
you know, I went for it, bro. Like I've always haven't had an
Me too. I don't know where I find
entrepreneur
the
spirit.
strength. I don't
Like
exactly.
I just didn't want to be like working a job for the rest of my life, like my parents, right? Blue collar workers, my mom worked two, three jobs. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Grandpa was a tradesman, a sandblaster painter. Do this, boy, go to the military, join the army. So, all this kind of stuff. They're set. So here's what I say, the crabs in the bucket, right? The crabs in the bucket effect. Your friends and family, you know, like they love you and they're at a certain level. So when you start going above that level, educating yourself, becoming an entrepreneur, and you start trying to climb over the bucket, they start pulling you back down because they're only at that level, right? And they hang around with the people that's at that level, so they don't know about real estate or entrepreneurship or financial, for how to handle their because we all wasn't taught that in school. We were taught to go to school, get education. If you can go to college and go work for a company, right? But what is that company doing? There's a ceiling, right?
100%. You
Right.
trading your time for money. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
much you make per hour. You trading
Yeah.
your time for money, right?
And people wake up every single day. They want change. They talk about, like, man, one day this, but never take action on their whys and their goals. I
And they
chose,
go and play the lottery.
right. I
And they go
chose,
every day and play the lottery instead. Yeah.
yeah, I chose not to, listen to the coaches that I surrounded myself with were positive and talk to me. Hey, there's nothing wrong with your family talking like that or your friends. They're just at that level. Once someone reaches up over that level like yourself and become an entrepreneur, now that you start hanging out with other people. And then the number one thing is for me is I try to educate my family and friends on what I'm doing. And I offer to help them now because I'm out, outside the bucket looking down like, dude, all I did was this, 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 this. You can follow me like somebody from humble beginnings, go to prison, change his life, surround himself with successful people, now is successful, willing to teach you, like, here's the steps, take action. Most people don't take action, they just stay in that same position. So, it's 22, man.
Frustrated. It's
Yeah,
frustrated.
it's a catch 22. Like you want
Yeah.
the best for everyone. They want the best for you, right? And then once they see you succeed, and some of my families change, right? Like, oh my gosh, we're super happy for you. But like just talking to the
They
audience, your
still don't
audience is
understand. They still don't understand what you're doing.
no, like it's possible, but you got to take action on your why and your goal. And it doesn't have to be real estate. It can be any, like nowadays, this thing right here, the phone, you can do, social media posts, do like, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's, doing live sales on TikTok, all that stuff. Like, like it's easier with all the information, AI, right? So it's
Yeah.
possible.
So yeah. So I think our story was really inspiring, and I resonate a lot with this because when you are the only entrepreneur in your family, and in this podcast we interviewed 500 millionaires, and the we have as entrepreneurs, you, me, everybody that's been in this podcast, we have a gene that come with us since we are very little. So the
Yeah.
entrepreneur gene is with us. I remember I don't know when it came from, but I remember every time when since my short period as an employee, because I only work as an employee like few years, no more than 5. Let me see, 5 and 2, 7. Yeah, that was my child employee life. I remember that every time I was work, I'm thinking, well, I'm gonna have business. If I go with a restaurant, I'm gonna thinking, why I'm gonna have my own restaurant. I'm gonna. In fact, I have it, and it was a big disaster. But anyway, because I'm thinking since I'm an employee, I want to have things. However, if something drastic doesn't happen, in my case, it was my dad that got cancer. Then I was in London. Then he's in Spain. I don't have money to go and see him. And I said, so I read the book of Roy Kiyosaki, same like you, at 4 a.m. And out of desperation, of anger. And when the morning the bank opened, I went straight without sleeping to the bank and said, I want the money. How much can you lend me? I'm gonna start this thing. So now, on your case, then you have to go to prison. Something dramatic needs to happen in order for you to become who you really are. So sometimes the worst day of your life become the best day of your life. So my question to you is, why, out of the 500 that we interviewed, we see this story again and again and again, that they are in corporate job and then they got sacked and now they start the business, or they get divorced, or they have kids. There is always something that enlightening this light. And my question to you is, why we have to wait until something dramatic happens to become who we really are, if it's already within ourselves? Do you have any thought on that?
It could be fear or doubt, right? The surrounding people that you grew up with, your friends, want to keep you in that circle. I believe that's one of the number one things that holds, entrepreneurs back is the fear, right? Like the unknown, but the ones like you and I or the 500 other, people that came on this podcast is that taking a risk and learning that skill or a skill that can obtain what you want from someone else that did it. It's like, you never just become a person that can just right off the bat. Someone taught you how to ride the bike, or swimming, the fear of swimming, jumping into the deep, or, like when I first started, I always wanted to go in the shallow because I wanted to make sure I touched the bottom. So, it's definitely a fear that I believe is stopping a lot of people from becoming entrepreneurs, because as a you don't have to become a person that goes out and finds work or consistent, jobs for your employees, right? To keep the business going. You don't got to think. You're just an employee. Just show up at this time and then you go home at this time. So, it's a lot of will and strength within to become an entrepreneur, and risk, and then also learning how to leverage, is another thing. Is leverage is huge. Leveraging other people's money, time, because nowadays there's so much grants and loans that can help you, even if you're a woman, right? Single mom or whatever. They have grants out there they give you money to start your business. There's free programs, nonprofit organizations that help you learn about
100%.
yeah, fixing your finances, and then help you, obtain loans to get your business. They help you put together a business plan and all sorts of programs out there. So, you know, I think it's fear, bro. Like that's the number one thing is fear.
Yeah, and on the uncertainty, and I get into a comfort zone also, because
Yep.
it's more comfortable. Okay, if you have a blue collar work, okay, you wake up, you get paid, that's it. You need to work Saturday and Sunday. Whether the now let's talk about one thing first, because one thing is to uh, make the money, and the other thing is keeping the money. So
Yeah.
yeah, when you are an entrepreneur, okay, yes, you easy to make. You know how to make money, right? Now, in order for you to keep the money, you need to become an investor, and a
Yep.
good investor, which is a different skill set than an entrepreneur. For example, you're doing property development, so
Yep.
that you understand. Uh, Even when you were raising funds for your colleague to do the project, now you're learning, you're developing skills not only the flipping side of the business, the entrepreneurial side, and how to make money with the flipping, Now you're also learning how to become an investor. You're learning how to sell those investment packages to investors, how to give people money and talk about returns and talk about projections and talk about money. So when do you realize that, hold on a minute, this is not only about making money. Uh, some people that have attended this podcast make millions, lose it, millions, lose it, millions, lose it. Clearly, they don't have any problem making
Yeah.
money, but if they don't become a good investor, they're not gonna keep. They're not gonna keep it. So, when do you realize in your short life as an entrepreneur? Because I can say that 12 years is a very short life as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
That you realize, hold on a minute, it's not only to be a good entrepreneur, I also need to become a good investor. Okay.
Yeah.
So when do you realize this?
Well, I've always watched other people. And I think the number one thing was watching other people, like my grandparents, who owned a rental property, right? They bought the property a long time ago. Then my grandpa fixed it up, and then my grandma managed it, right? So just watching that as a young kid, you know, eventually in my mind, I seen that. And when I started reading books about long-term wealth and keeping your wealth, well, guess what? In real estate, you can do wholesaling, fix and flips, brand new builds, and you flip these properties, right? You make the income, but then where does that income go? You spend it, or do you put it in another investment or an asset that reproduces or gains interest? And then, so I was always intrigued in renting homes, right? Buying a home, one a year. And today I have around 12 properties that's generating income that's coming in. Not only that, when
Well,
you
very
have rent,
impressive.
not only,
You
yeah,
bought
not
one per
only that,
every year. Wow.
every,
Wow.
so the
It's
goal
amazing.
for me is to buy one rental property or keep one rental property every single year until I pass away. And this is a strategy to be able to, like taxes. So my income went off of my income that I make from my development where I build homes and flip them. The income that I make, the rentals offset my taxes. So I pay little to none in taxes because of my rentals. So
That's the thing. You need to know what you're doing with the taxes
yeah,
because the tax
yeah,
code. I give a conference the other.
yeah,
I was in a conference the other day and we were talking about tax code.
yeah.
That is actually is designed to help entrepreneurs to grow the business because
Hmm.
is an interest that the business because you can employ people and then those people they pay tax on salary. So
Yeah,
and solve a major problem which is unemployment. So
yeah,
the government and the tax code is on your side, but you need to know how to use it because
yep.
otherwise you're gonna pay the tax and you're gonna give it to the government. I don't think they're gonna do.
Yeah, you get, most
You guys as an
entrepreneurs.
entrepreneur can do use of tax that. Or what do you think? Well, let's don't go political, but
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
it's the tax code is actually designed for to help to grow the business.
yep.
Fauzi, the now let's talk about giving back and social responsibility. It's very humble of you to because you don't need to teach anybody. You don't need to have a coaching academy. You don't need
Yep.
to do that. You know how to make your money, and if you want more money, I remember back in the day when I was to write my book, they were asking me, Harry, you want this book to make money? And I was telling the people, no, I want to
No.
write this book
Yep.
to help people, to show them. If I want to make more money, I don't write a book. I just take more property. I just take more property
Yeah. Yeah.
and more money. So I'm this book to make money as a main objective. I'm doing it to help people and so on. So in the same way, this coaching program that I saw that you are launching to helping people, you don't really need the money. You don't really need to do the whole time consuming. I coach people all over the world, so it consumes time. You really need to like it. You really need to hang around and to. So I notice when in the coaching side and when we do all over the world, as you can see in the background, and
Mhm.
I remember in London and well, quite often in they stop in the metro. Harry, that you? I always see purple, so very colorful. They, Harry, that you? Man, I saw you in this event. You say this. I changed my life. Look, my business, my kids.
Yeah.
Let's take a picture. And I'm kind of speaking with the guys. I said, which event? Yeah, man, in that event, I was there. You say this, I remember. And I did it and whatever. And then a little bit embarrassing. I'm in the metro taking the photo, and then I arrive home. And I'm thinking the level of fulfillment that I give you, there is no money that can pay that. I'm thinking, wow, I don't even remember which event he's talking about. I don't even remember what I say. But he did. He took note. He applied it, and it changed his life. And then he can recognize you, tell you thank you. So the level of fulfillment. I always said, me having $1 million in the bank account, it won't make you happy. Yeah, it can solve a lot of problems, but it won't give you happiness, fulfillment.
Yeah.
When you see the people with they look at you and you see the eyes shine, especially when we go to South America, we do these talks and we inspire a lot of people, and I can see the eyes when they are shine. They look at me. They say, "Happy, it's true that if we do this business, we can do this and we can have more, and our families could do better." Yes, of course, do that, and then we train with basic vehicles and things to do to them to start their own micro business. You can see the transformation. You can hope that you give to people, and this is you get paid in another currency better than money. Yeah, you don't get
Yeah.
sick. They wish you to be happy. They wish you to be healthy. You don't get sick. They
Yeah.
send you so much good energy. So tell us, Fuzzy, why you decided, if you don't really need to do this coaching thing, why you decided to spend time and effort and energy to go out and help people? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, of course you need to charge for it. You have to charge for it because when they pay, is the level of commitment. You pay 20K for your course. That's how serious you were about that course.
Right.
And in property, if you're serious about, you put some money down. Yeah. When
Yeah.
I'm renting the room, no, I like the room. Okay, put the deposit. If you put the deposit, you're serious about the room. Otherwise, so that
Right.
money only represents how serious they are. You're not gonna waste your time either. Okay. So tell us why you decide to give back if you don't have to in the first place.
Great question. I was always brought up to give my shirt off my back, right? Always a giver, never a taker. Always reaching out to help someone, like say somebody's stuck on the side of the road or in the middle of the road. You get out of your car, you help push them on the side, make sure they're safe. If they gotta get a help jump. I always carry jumper cables in my car just so I can help people. I have right where I can help somebody if they stuck. If I get time, I'll pull over, help them out. And it's not about me no more. In the beginning, it was all about me. Money, traveling, fun. But now it turned into family, right? Once I started the real estate thing for family, building our generational wealth. But then I got to a point where I'm like, shoot, I got of this stuff, but like, you know, what about other people that's from Hawaii, born and raised just like me, Hawaiians that are struggling because Hawaii is one of the most expensive markets in the country. An average home is $1 million,
Wow, really? Oh, wow, really?
right? So
Wow, wow.
how does someone
How they
survive?
gonna buy the house?
Exactly, and
That
it's crazy.
expensive?
Yeah,
My goodness,
it
I
is.
didn't know this. Wow.
It's an appreciating state. So because it's so beautiful around us, people that have money, they buy properties from people that's from Hawaii more, and then they drive up, they either knock down the house and build a bigger house and start creating, appreciation in neighborhoods. So
No,
a
and
lot of it
also
is,
because I understand the
yeah,
place is limited.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not like you have like,
yeah.
expenses areas of land.
Hmm.
And I understand maybe some of the
Yeah,
places are green areas that you can build, right? So
yeah,
for
it's
nature
and
purposes, so it's a limited space. That
yeah.
also help the capital growth in a place because it's not too.
And in the news, Harry, in the news, we keep hearing this thing called priced out of paradise, priced out of paradise, people moving away. There's over 15,000 locals that's born and raised in Hawaii moving away because the cost of living facts is
Mhm, mhm.
expensive,
Yeah.
right? So I was
If a
thinking
house
like,
is a
okay,
$1 million,
yeah, if I can do it, right, coming from prison, coming out, no money in my pocket, no, like really had to start from scratch, right? How does someone like me do it? Well, it boils down to
your
educating
people,
myself, learning
to your people.
skills, and being an inspiration. So um I met my business partner Zasha Smith. She's a local girl. She was single mom, went to school, got her education, became an engineer, and then she just figured out, man, this is not what I want to do too. But she started in real estate as well. She became a real estate millionaire in 3 years. A local girl coming from humble
Wow.
beginnings, like coming from like no money, living in HUD homes, like section, right? But we connected on social media and created a business together. I didn't know her, she didn't know me, but we found the that we had similar ways of in our local community, right? Our heart was in the same place. So, we created the HUI Mastermind for locals here to help build generational wealth through real estate. And just like you, I had to write a book, not for the money, but to show that it's possible. And I share all my secrets. I wrote this, I don't know if you can see, it's called, you see that Priced Out of Paradise, How to Build Wealth Investing in Real Estate, the Pono way. The Pono way is the righteous way or the right way. So, in here has
Wow.
my story about me going to prison, a story about, a lady that we helped out when and also I had no money. And then also the HUI Mastermind principles, how to start your real estate business even if you don't have any money. So it's possible, brother. And I
So
do
where
this
people
now.
can buy the book? Where people
Oh,
can buy the book?
Amazon,
What's it?
it's 99 cents on for the ebook, and then 20 bucks is 19.99 for the copy on
So, first, if somebody's in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how this process work, how we can join your mastermind, how can they learn you? Can you please share this with us?
Yes, I have a Instagram page called HIFUZZ, High Fuzz, at High Fuzz handle. We also have HUIMastermind.com is our coaching program, and then we also have a YouTube channel called Investing in Hawaii. So Investing in Hawaii on YouTube, and starting to monetize. So we're starting to put out more videos on how it's possible to be able to find opportunities here in Hawaii. The number one way too, I can tell you, is people think because they don't have money, there's still opportunities to buy tax auction properties at pennies on the dollar. Like that's one of the number one things we talk about is how to find properties pennies on the dollar at tax auctions here in Hawaii. So
Wow, tax is a very interesting topic because it's my understanding that the amount that you have to pay for tax, you can use this money to buy a little.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
as soon as you do that effectively um, and efficiently, then you can have more learning. That's why you're going to an amazing place, one house per year. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
So, was very inspiring. I'm very inspired by your story. Keep doing
Thank you,
what you
Harry.
do. Yeah, very proud of you, what you have accomplished. Yeah, and not only that, but also as top as inspiration for your community because if entrepreneurs ask we don't solve the problem, nobody else can solve it for us. I don't believe that government's going to come to so many problems. One, they can solve them. Like a main problem, but the problems like with the local community, entrepreneurs, we have to solve. Uh, it's not from us today, not from the government. But we are the people of the ground making the difference. Yeah,
Yes.
it's gonna be okay, and understand that will be more easy to only care about yourself, make a lot of millions, buy yourself a yacht, and live amazing. But what if you can use this time to create a real impact in communities and be socially responsible? I believe that uh, we need to make food good and make it at the same time. it's awesome. You're actually doing. So
Yeah.
the level of fulfillment that we're gonna give you, like I said, you don't get. Thank you so much. And for all of you following the podcast with our next episode. Right, thank you for me. Así, break the rule and achieve the best video. Right.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.